Welcome to another episode of Unsanctioned. I'm your host, Luis Vasquez.
It's Jay Holland. We're back for episode 2.
Oh, my God, we lived another day.
Yes,
we did something right.
What do we got going on today?
I don't know. I think this time around,
I think it's going to be a little heavy metalish.
Maybe we dip into the tag team ranks a bit. What do you think?
Oh, I think we're going to rock it.
Yeah? And pierce it? Oh, okay. Hold on. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Let's get back on track here.
Back on track.
All right.
On this episode of Unsanctioned, we're joined by a thriller from the Attitude Era and a few times on SD Live in 2016, 17.
2016.
Yeah.
I mean,
recently.
He's a headbanger. He's a headbanger.
He is a headbanger.
He's a headbanger.
We'll be joined by Thrasher from
the Headbangers. You are now listening to Unsanctioned. We are now sanctioned over your airwaves.
Let's go. Unsanctioned. Like I said, we live another day.
Yes.
And we see another guest.
Indeed. I mean, and thank you to you guys. You know, everyone watched episode 1, and we got a lot of great feedback. And thank you for that. Thank you for the support, and hopefully you guys continue to support us.
I'm Luis Vasquez.
And I'm Jay Holland.
And we are also going to be joined by another co-host of ours, Julio Jeune, who is running late from a commitment right now, but he will be here.
He will be here.
He guaranteed it.
Anything goes on Unsanctioned.
Anything goes.
Including being late.
but not by the following person. We're so blessed to have a legend.
A legend?
A legend from the Attitude Era.
A legend?
Because he innovated and he brought back the kilt in 2017. Cesaro Sheamus.
He is a legend. I will give you that. He has inspired a lot of people in this tag team division. I will give you that.
I freaking hated him in WWF Warzone on PlayStation.
Look.
Oh, man, he used to whoop my ass.
Like I said, they're
I'm not even sucking up. That really did happen. He was the one person I couldn't beat. I couldn't stand him.
You suck.
Let's see if you put your money where your mouth is at in 2K18. All right. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Thrasher from the Headbangers. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you?
Thank you for joining Unsanctioned. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
How's the weather down there in Florida?
It's beautiful.
I'm jealous.
It's always beautiful in Florida, and if you don't like the weather, you wait 10 minutes and it changes. So there you go.
Sounds very close to New England weather.
Man, we have it bad over here.
The only thing that's different down here is we don't have that white stuff. So
yeah, you don't need it.
That's why me and Chaz moved down here, because neither one of us like the damn snow.
Oh,
you're the best, man. You're the best. So congratulations on reemerging on the scene, and obviously, you come from a very decorated career, and especially in the tag team division. One of the things I really wanted to ask you about, being as you made recent appearance on SD Live, 2 of them, what were some of the differences in the locker room atmosphere between the Attitude Era and now?
It was quite a surprise to us also. We just got Chaz got a text message from Road Dogg asking us if we were available next Tuesday. And of course, Chaz thought it was a joke. He goes, "Of course we are." So then next thing he knows, he got a phone call, and then it just started rolling. The first time we went back in, it's almost been a year now. Last August 30th, we got a very good welcoming from the locker room. It's very much more business oriented than it used to be for the Attitude Era. I mean, we'd show up in shorts and t-shirts, like we just rolled out of bed, or we just came back from the gym, or stuff like that. Nowadays, it's more in business attire, nice pants, nice shirt. You're coming to work as a business professional. So in that respect, it's a little different.
Were you told to dress that way?
We were told that we had to wear business attire, yes.
Mm.
But the locker room itself, once you got there and you got unchanged, you got into catering and everything else, we walked into catering, and the first guy that got up from his table and stopped eating his lunch was John Cena.
No
he saw us walk in. It was awesome, because we didn't know how people were going to take us. We didn't even know if anybody was going to remember us.
I mean, you guys look the same, which is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you look great out there.
Exactly.
It was funny, because we walked into the catering room, and John was sitting all the way on the other side. And he stopped his meal, he got up, and he, came right over to us. He welcomed us back and said thanks for being here and everything else. And, very, very warm welcome from John and everything else. He's by far, he is exactly what everybody thinks he is. Regardless of what they see on TV, he is a businessman through and through. He's a true professional. I have no ill remarks about John or his body of work or anything. He's revolutionized the business for his time. So, yeah, it was really, really nice to have that welcome, especially from him.
Now, when was everyone knows Attitude Era. When you think of Attitude Era, you think of great characters coming to life and people leaving their imprint. And it seems like nowadays that they're even trying to have a reemergence of it. But tell me you guys' relationship with Vince and how was that and how is it today?
It was funny because the first time we were there, we saw Vince he wasn't out and about. I mean, you got to remember, Vince, he's, 70?
Yeah.
70 and jacked.
Yeah, but, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, he was, a lot younger and, he was still, active in the ring and active, on TV and stuff like that. So it was a little different. Him being out with the guys and stuff like that is different now than it used to be. When we came back, before we saw him, we went over and we shook his hand and, he thanked us for being there and everything else. We came back, he stood up, gave us a hug and, said, you guys were great, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And, we thought it was going to be a one and done, especially when, you leave their, next tag team champs bloodied in the middle of the ring, both of them.
Oh, yeah.
When Rhino caught that elbow and then Slater bit his tongue on the flapjack. So we thought we'd never hear from him again. We were grateful for the mention and the thought and stuff like that for so many years. He never even mentioned us and stuff like that. And so for them to bring us back, 2 other times after that, it was just, it was great. It felt really good. Obviously, they had enough confidence in us, to put us on live TV. After, 15, 18 years of not being on TV, they call us up and put us right back on TV. It was awesome.
Well, it's been a while. Did they try you out?
They threw us right on. Yep. Wow. Yep. It was funny because Road Dogg called us up, and we were supposed to be on the Tuesday before the 3rd, I guess it was the 23rd of August, but something happened and licensings and stuff like that, so we had to wait until Dallas, which was okay by me because I'm a Cowboy fan.
Oh, Pats.
Yeah, right. So, and then when we got the call back from Road Dogg and everything else, he was like, yeah, bring all your stuff and, this is what we're planning on doing and stuff like that. We'll see how it goes from there. The only thing I wish we had different, was, of course we had more time. When you're on the second half of SmackDown Live, being a 2-hour show, and you're on that second half of it, and you're not the main event, your time's going to get cut.
Yeah.
So, that's just how live TV works. So, everybody complaining about, oh, you guys didn't have enough time, you guys didn't have music, blah, blah, blah. Hell, we were just happy to be there. I mean, that's what people don't understand. It's like playing, semi-pro football, and then you get the call from the Patriots or the Cowboys or something like that, and you're like, hey, we need you in the game for this, 5 minutes and stuff like that. Can you guys do it?
It's like your Rudy moment.
What are you going to say? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, I had a question for you because to real fans, they really would pick up on this moment. I remember when you guys actually won the NWA tag titles on Raw.
Yes.
So tell me about that dynamic because that was in the era where anything can happen. I remember the first time you guys faced the Rock and Roll Express, you lost on the over-the-top DQ, and I was sitting there like, oh, man, what is this? And then you guys came back and won it. I know you guys are very grateful for Jim Cornette and your time down in Ring of Honor. So let's tell me about the connection between you and Jim Cornette and how he helped you guys out.
It's funny because me and Jim Cornette go back to when I very first started. So I've known Jimmy for years. So he was always the one that, told me, even before I started tagging with Chaz, he's like, if you ever want to come down to a territory and stuff like that, let me know. I'll bring you in and everything else. And, just let me know. I didn't want to go to a territory by myself. because for me it was scary enough going to a place that you'd never been, but also trying to work and live and stuff like that. Especially back then you were getting minimum dollars, $40, $50, $60 a day. I appreciated Jimmy and stuff like that. Then me and Chad started tagging. We went to USWA first with Jerry Lawler, which I also knew from before, because Larry Sharp, who actually trained us at the Monster Factory, brought guys like that in. We went down there, and then after we did, our time at USWA, we did some time in Arkansas with Burt Prentice. And then we went, I called Jimmy up, and I said, hey, Jimmy, you got any spots open and stuff like that? He's like, listen, guys, I always loved your work. He goes, but I can't think, because we wrestled under hoods. We were called the Spiders. And he goes, I just can't stand the mask. He goes, so give me a couple of weeks and stuff like that, and let me figure out some kind of character and gimmick for you and everything else. He goes, but I needed to fit you guys, because Jimmy knows us and knew how we were and stuff like that. So he calls us up not even, I want to say 2 weeks later. He goes, I got it. He goes, I'm going to call you guys the Headbangers, Thrasher and Mosher. And we're like, he goes, I went to a Glenn Danzig concert. Now, you got a picture of Jim Cornette at a Glenn Danzig concert.
I can't do it. I'm doing that right now. I can't.
I'm still trying to get past the tennis racket and blazer.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, these guys, they were tattooed up, and they had piercings, and they were spitting on each other, and they were slam dancing and doing all this crazy stuff. And we're like, Jimmy, we know about mosh pits and stuff like that. That's the kind of music we listen to. We listen to that heavy metal, hard, Marilyn Manson, Korn and Metallica. That's the stuff that we listen to. And he was like, that is perfect. He goes, they were wearing wedding dresses and skirts, and we're like, hey, wait. And I'm like,
skirts.
What's the headbanger thing with the skirts and the wedding dresses? We're not gay. We're not doing that. Are you crazy? So we're like, Jimmy, the names Slasher and Mosher. I said, how about Mosh? And there's already a guy named Slash. I said, how about we do something else? He goes, all right, Thrash. He goes, Thrasher. So that's actually how he came up. He actually created the headbanger gimmick. When we say that we owe everything to Jim Cornette, I mean, that's just the bottom that's just scraping the bottom of the barrel. So Smoky Mountain, we went over there, and Smoky Mountain was closing down. So it was at the time where Vince wanted to have more competitive matches on TV. So he brought in, they weren't really enhancement guys. They were called like just superstars that went out and had, competitive matches with other superstars. So we were part of that group of signing the part-time contracts, which was really cool. We went to all the TVs. We went, Monday, Tuesday. That's when they used to tape, SmackDown, and they used to air on Thursdays years ago. So we were just happy with that. Then we heard that, we started catching wind and people started following and buying into, the Headbangers and stuff like that. And everything, and it was really, to us, it was mind blowing, because we never expected anything. We were there to help out the superstars, to get them over, and everything else, because it's a lot easier, whipping somebody's ass than it is taking an ass whooping. So that's real talent, when you take an ass whooping it and you make them look good.
Exactly.
That's how it was always thought. That's how it'll always be. I'll take a good ass whooping any day of the week, and I have. So. It was really, so, at that point, and we found out that we caught wind that they were making action figures and T-shirts and merchandising, which was not covered in our part-time contract. So we went to Bruce Pritchard and everything else, and we said, hey, listen, can you guys just redo our part-time contracts and write in the merchandising and stuff like that and that stuff? He's like, how about we just give you guys full-time contracts? We've been meaning to talk to you guys about it. We're like, well, it wasn't a guarantee. We weren't guaranteed anything. Our part-time contracts, we were. We were guaranteed to make, quite a bit of money on Monday, Tuesday, and everything was paid for. All of our expenses were paid. Everything was paid for.
Not bad.
So we actually managed to write all that into our first contract with no guarantee, but everything was still paid for. So it worked out pretty good. I guess they were, I guess it was at the peak, of the Headbanger being popular.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so they were doing everything to keep us, because that's when WCW was trying to scoop up everybody, before they folded and stuff like that, which, we've never talked to WCW when we were there. I've always been a WWF, WWE guy.
Were you ever intrigued?
So,
did you ever wonder about going over there?
I did and I didn't. I mean, it was like WWF was always home for me. I was on the very second Monday Night Raw ever. I wrestled Marty Jannetty on the second Monday Night Raw.
Wow, that's a throwback.
So I was there for the very first Monday Night Raw. So, I mean, I was there since, day one and stuff like that.
Right.
It was always, it was always WWF. WCW was always more south. It was like more, Georgia and stuff like that. I was always in the Northeast, up in South Jersey and stuff like that. I watched more WWF than I did WCW.
Well, when they started to flash some cash, did you ever raise some eyebrows and say, hey, what about us?
Not really, because I always believed in loyalty. Vince took a chance on us and said, you know what, I like these guys. I like, their work ethic and stuff like that. And it never really crossed our mind about, the what if or anything like that with WCW. It never really did. We always saw our future with WWF.
Now, how do you feel? Because, like I said in the intro, you guys have definitely inspired this tag team division moving forward. Like, we noticed, like, the Raw tag team champions, Cesaro and Sheamus, seems like they're kind of infringing on your look.
I thought you were Cesaro for a second.
I'm just saying, minus the eye black.
I think that is a compliment. It's funny because I get a lot of tweets about it and stuff like that on Twitter. But you can follow me, and I'll follow you back on Twitter at Thrasher.
Perfect. Nice.
Good plug.
And,
now the question is, does Chaz follow back?
I can't answer for Chaz.
We'll check him out.
I cannot answer for Chaz, but I will follow back. And
that's awesome. You all heard it here first.
Just let me know that you want to follow back, and I'll follow you back. Chaz is a different character. But yeah, it was. I get lots of tweets about, look at Cesaro and Sheamus trying to be the Headbangers and stuff like that. I take that as a compliment, but we have to be mindful. They wear kilts, we wear skirts, and
tomato.
Exactly. Same, I guess. But I mean, I would love to have a kilt versus skirt match. I mean, why not? I mean, I'm down.
And what I really love about you guys, and I think about the Stagedive finisher.
Best finisher in tag team.
Yes,
ever.
I mean it's like to me it surpassed the Doomsday Device. You know what I mean? Because you guys definitely, it takes strength, timing, and trust of the other tag team, because you guys going from the powerbomb position and then you have the other one coming off with the leg drop, and it always seemed to be timed so perfectly. And so the only other team that I could think of who usually has like finishers or who seem in sync are the Hardy Boys. And I know you guys had the early match with them, back in '97 before the Hardy Boys took off and the whole Team Extreme. And I felt like they kind of rode you guys' wave as far as that whole rock phenomenon. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
It's funny because when I was training and stuff like that, Larry Sharp told us to always make sure that when you go to bed at night, you sleep with a pad and pencil or a pad and pen next to on your nightstand. And I could never, ever figure out why until the one night that I was sleeping and I actually dreamt about a powerbomb and a leg drop. So I woke up in the middle of the night and I wrote down powerbomb, leg drop. And then I just went back to sleep. And then I woke up the next day and I went, what the hell? Cause 9 times out of 10 you don't remember your dreams and what you think about when you're sleeping and stuff like that. And I looked at this pad and pencil and I went, powerbomb, leg drop. And I didn't understand it. And then I, thought about it more and more and more, and then I was like, that seems kind of impossible, but I like the impossible, so let's make it possible. So we tried it an awful lot. I credit D'Lo Brown because he was the first one to ever take the stage dive. He was also the first one that I broke his nose when I sat on his face.
Okay, well, there it is.
So,
yeah.
But I'll tell you what, D'Lo was the champ. He just, as many times as we wanted to try it, he kept doing it. And he was there. He helped us, a lot with it and stuff like that. He stood in there and took it. There was a lot of times that people got, heels to the face and stuff like that. I believe the very first time that we started practicing it. It was first we would do it off the second rope, then we would try to do it. First I did it standing and stuff like that. Like Chaz would do the power bomb, I would just run and do a leg drop. Then we'd drive it from the second rope and stuff. We wanted a finisher that people could go, holy shit, I could never do that. Or look at the timing on that. Because when we were brought up in wrestling, Cornette gave us tapes of the Rock and Roll Express, the Freebirds, all the great tag teams from back in the day and stuff. He said, watch tapes like that and then just steal their stuff. But what we did is we didn't steal it, we just modified it. And, we've seen, different things that people do now, and it looks like an awful lot like the drop-down clothesline off the second rope. They do a drop-down drop kick now, or they do a drop-down, running clothesline, or the back elbow or something. So, everybody modifies things from time to time and everything else. So it's a compliment. I mean, I always thought that the Stagedive was the best finisher in tag team wrestling just because of that fact of the timing and stuff like that. And, at our age, we can still do it, and it still looks, unbelievable. So
absolutely
proud of it.
Jay mentioned, you were starting out with the Hardy Boys. You had early matches with them. It's 2017 now, and the Hardy Boys are going strong. What do you feel when you watch that at home?
That we can absolutely 100% do absolutely the same thing, if not more, if we were given an opportunity. And the only reason I say that, and you don't look at our age, look at our ring wear. So for the past, 18, 19 years or 18, 17 years since we've been on the road full time, we've wrestled, occasionally, but not like we did when we were on the road. Not like these guys are doing when they're on the road. So our body wear and tear is probably a lot less than Matt and Jeff. So I think to this day, I mean, I'm 48 years old, and I know that I can hang with the guys that are up in the WWE now. I feel like, me and Chaz are in better shape now than we were when we were there. Only because, with age comes wisdom. I never believed that until I got that wisdom along with the age. So I believe that we take better care of ourselves and stuff like that. We're smarter. I wish I knew then what I know now. So I absolutely sit there and watch, some Monday nights and go, you know what, damn it, I wish that we had an opportunity to go in there and light it up again. Because I think us and Matt and Jeff would still, to this day, probably be an unbelievable matchup.
Right. I mean, it's very interesting. You talk about that, and then you look at the run that the Dudleys recently had in WWE. Why did they fizzle out? What happened?
They did what they were supposed to do. I don't think anything happened. They did what they were brought in to do. Just like as you're seeing Matt and Jeff now, they're being brought in to do what they had to do. So when Bubba and Devon came back, you didn't need to put a belt on them. They're such a decorated tag team. They didn't need a belt to get the crowd over and stuff like that. That's why the belts are there, to get that team or that person over with the crowd. So, Bubba and Devon, they didn't need that. They're one of the most decorated tag teams in the history of wrestling. They were brought in to elevate the tag team division. That's what they did. Matt and Jeff, they were brought in. They would put the straps on them right away to give them, more relevance and stuff like that. Because, they haven't been tagging together all that long. What, a year or so that they were brought back together down in TNA?
Yep.
Maybe a little longer. So that, they were reintroduced and stuff like that to, the WWE universe with putting the belts on them. It was a good idea. And now they're in the role similar to what the Dudleys were. They're out there having great matches, elevating a new talent. I mean, that's what happens. Look at what, all the matches that we had with LOD, the Legion of Doom.
Yep.
We've never, ever lost to them. We're one of the few tag teams that can say that. Their match that they came back to Monday Night Raw on was against us. Their comeback match. They didn't beat us. It was a DQ. That doesn't count as a loss.
Now,
Exactly.
You know, that's what they're supposed to do. The older guys are supposed to elevate the younger guys, and then it's all full circle. You know, it's giving back to what we love to do. So I would love to go in there and give back to the younger guys and bring them up.
this is what we always like to do. We always like to play booker promoter, and now with you, we want to do the same thing. So if you can have one match, you know, the Headbangers, and you can have it whether it be a one-on-one or a fatal four-way with 3 other teams, what other teams would it be, and what kind of match would it be?
I would love to do another fatal four-way because we're pretty good at them, considering that we won WrestleMania with a fatal four-way, and also our tag belts when we were tag team champs
Indeed.
in a fatal four-way. I would love to once again, and we've never done this, I would love for it to be us, the Hardys, the Dudleys, and the New Age Outlaws.
Ooh.
Just one more time.
Oh, do you think they have a little more juice left in the tank?
What's that?
Do you think they have some juice left in the tank?
Oh, you didn't know?
You better call somebody.
Billy and Jesse?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I want to
Have
see
you
it. I'm a
guys
huge
seen
DX
Billy
Mark.
lately?
Well, hey, I
Have
seen
you
Billy.
seen Billy Gunn lately?
Yeah,
Oh,
I seen him
he's
on New
jacked.
Japan. I seen him on New
He's in
Japan.
phenomenal shape.
Yeah.
Phenomenal shape.
I want to see it.
And Road Dogg, I mean, you know, he got into being a producer. He's, you know, absolutely, I think they still have some juice left in the tank,
Now
and they
let's-
can do some stuff.
Let's stay right there real quick. Road Dogg as a producer, he's been receiving tons of heat on social media. Is that fair?
No, he's doing his job. I mean, it's funny because the fans that give you the heat on social media don't really understand the business. There's, you know, once you see a storyline on TV, there's a bigger picture than what actually you're seeing on TV. It elevates into something else. Either it elevates a guy to the next level, or, you know, something else is coming out of that storyline to elevate, you know, both guys or one guy or something like that. Like the whole thing with Nakamura and John Cena when he, you know, did the belly-to-back suplex and dropped John on his head.
Oh, yeah. he
Everybody wanted to
apologized.
criticize him and everything else. The kid made a mistake. John let him know it was all right. Enough said.
Right.
You know, he's not going to be scrutinized in the back or being a dangerous wrestler. You go in that ring knowing that it could be your last match every single time. You know, we've seen it, and I've been witness to it one too many times. We were there when Draws was paralyzed. It's something that you go in, you know, knowing that it could happen. You never wanted to, but it could happen. And it's nothing's done intentionally. There's accidents. Accidents happen everywhere.
I wanted to build off that point. You know, talking about people getting spoken to, hey, it's okay. I don't know if it's always been that way, but what I do know is Wrestler's Court is a thing. What have your experiences been with that?
Wrestler's Court? I've never been involved in Wrestler's Court.
Get out of here. No way.
You seen him?
You were a
seen
goody
lots of
two-shoes?
It wasn't the fact that we were goody two-shoes. We knew who to pal around with and who not to.
Smart.
BSK?
You know, we pulled our pranks from time to time, but you know, it was funny because back in the Attitude Era, Taker was the judge, so he was the judge, jury, and everything else. So, you know, we were never involved in any, you know, Wrestler's Court. Seen a couple of them and seen like the aftermath of it and stuff like that, but yeah, no, we were never involved in it. We pulled our share of pranks and did our stuff, but we never did enough to, you know, really get people, you know, heated and hot at us and stuff like that.
How seriously did Taker take his role?
Oh, it was weird. I don't know if the Wrestler's Court was all that serious, but you know, it happened. You know,
Now,
let's just leave it like that. Yeah.
now, is there any stories you could share about Wrestler's Court? Even you guys' is probably most infamous prank that you can remember.
We had our one go-to prank that we always used to do. Whenever you go to a hotel room, the doors are always open in the room. So we used to find out what everybody's room was, and we used to take our hotel trash can, fill it halfway up with water, and then we would just ever so gently popping up on the hotel door, knock on the door. 9 times out of 10, the guy's coming to the door in his socks. Because me personally, I would never walk around in a hotel room with no socks on. It's just something. It's nasty. But yeah, I would always have my socks on, and so would most of them. So they would open up the door, and here's the bucket of water would spill out, and then would rush into their room, get their feet soaking wet, and they'd be all pissed off and everything else. But we've been it one too many times to Ken Shamrock. And,
no, of all people, come on, man. Woo!
Yeah, we didn't care. We did it to everybody. Yeah. We just did it to everybody because it was funny.
Oh, Ken Shamrock.
Yeah, after doing it week after week after week to Shamrock, he came running after us and chased us down the hallway. I was about to say,
did he have like an in-ring snapping moment where he was like, ah?
He cussed so much. Looking back on the network, that man could cuss.
He was, he caught us and he was he was a little upset with us. But, you know, we were really good friends with Kenny. He used to drive with us and stuff like that, and he knew it was all and you know, good humor.
Spared you guys an ankle lock, huh?
So yeah, but Owen was the biggest prankster. You know, I would say him and Davey Boy in the back. And, you know, they would come to TVs with stink bombs and, you know, padlocks and stuff like that, just so they could rip people. You know, you're sitting there talking to Vince or JR and stuff like that, and they walk by you, drop a stink bomb, and just walk away. And, you know, just to see the reaction on JR's face when you're standing there and he smells something and he's looking at you like, did you just shit yourself? So, yeah, or to go into the locker room and find your wrestling bag padlocked to a chair or the table leg or something like that, and then you have to spend half the night trying to find bolt cutters to cut off the lock. You know, a lot of the stuff was harmless. You know, if you bought into it, you got upset, you got ripped more. But if you let it roll off your shoulders and laugh at it and stuff like that, they left you alone. You just have to know how to take it.
So one of our guys, Julio, he's a co-host on the show, actually just walked in from a previous commitment. Go ahead, Julio. The floor is yours.
So I had a question.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, Thrasher?
I didn't know donating that as sperm bank was a previous commitment.
You know what? It's an important commitment, too. So, a lot of legitimate kids to take care of.
It pays. It pays.
So I had a quick.
I hear you.
I had a quick question, kind of in the same realm of the wrestlers' court. So recently, and bringing it back to today, Enzo Amore has had some issues with a lot of his fellow wrestlers in the locker room area. How hard is it once the locker room turns against you to get them back on your side?
I don't really know about the situation like that with anything like that. I always felt back in the Attitude Era is everybody knew their place. Everybody knew, you know, where they were in the I want to say the pecking order. We knew Rock, you know, Steve, Taker, Sean, Hunter. They were our bread and butter. They were the ones making us money. So, you know, we knew we were, you know, opening card, you know, second match, third match, maybe mid card, stuff like that. We knew where we stood in the company. And I think if you understand that, then there's no problems. Have I seen people that had big mouths in the locker room and stuff like that and get duct taped to tables and you know, ass end up? Absolutely. But, I mean, it only takes one time getting duct taped to a table, ass end up, and having somebody say that they're going to come. Yeah, it only takes that one time. So we really didn't there wasn't anybody really blackballed and stuff like that back then, I would say. You know, maybe Mark Henry when he first started because he came in and received such a huge contract. So there's, I want to think there might have been some animosity. He was the world's strongest man. Right. I mean, my God, you know, he earns his first contract to an extent, not in the wrestling business, but it was what he did outside of that made him earn that, which, you know, good for Mark. I mean, and look how far he's come and stuff like that. Mark may have taken some extra ribbing when he first broke in and stuff like that. I'm sure he'd be the first one to tell you that, too.
Yeah. Now, do you feel, just with how interactive and like how engaged the crowd is now. Because just to think back to Daniel Bryan, when Daniel Bryan was in the WrestleMania main event, it was always publicized that he wasn't supposed to be there, but his following got so big. Do you think that's possible where, like you had mentioned, you guys knew your place on the card, but nowadays it's just like talent feel if they can get over with the crowd that they necessarily do not have a place, and that there's always a chance for them to move up and be bigger than what they presume to be?
I don't know. I think today, I mean, that's why I like the fact that I do see them trying to get back to more of, the characters and stuff like that. I just felt like, when I was watching, consistently that everybody was trying to be Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Undertaker. Everybody wanted to be that badass, hey, I'm going to whoop your ass kind of thing and stuff like that. There's only one Steve. There's only one Undertaker. There'll ever only be one Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart. So, I mean, we came in and, we wanted to make our own niche as ourselves. So, I mean, I don't think that we'll ever see the crowd's reaction to the way it used to be. I mean, I can remember, house shows being sold out and getting, 10, 15, 12,000 people in an arena just for a house show. So, I mean, it's weird because I see some of the reactions that people have today versus back then. I mean, the signs that they had for the Monday Night Wars and the Monday Night Raw and stuff like that, the signs were just outrageous. I don't know if they limited that now to only, people aren't allowed to bring them in or what, but it's not like it used to be. So, I mean, I think everybody, to get back on track, all the wrestlers today do try to make their own niche and try to get over with the crowd and stuff like that because they feel that if they're over with the crowd, they're going to get a bigger push. You can only do that if you're on TV, and you only get on TV is if there's, storylines for you and things of that nature. I mean, that's just how it's always going to be. If you're there and there's a storyline, stuff like that, you're going to be on TV. If Vince wants you over, you're going to get over.
So here's a fun question. Something maybe 90% of Attitude Era fans probably have wondered. If social media existed back then, give me 3 names whose careers would absolutely be in trouble.
3 names. Me, Chaz.
Well, you guys are one. That's one.
Definitely, because, we used to, even when we were at Smoky Mountain, we used to do some hellacious stuff that, I think some statute of limitation would probably still get us. Who would I think would be in trouble with social media back then? I'm only going to say this thing, Bob Holly, because of how people thought he was. In the locker room and stuff like that, with how he was with people and things. I think if that was out on social media, I think people might have taken him a different way. Bob was always good to us. I mean, he loved you the hard way, and said things to motivate you, but sometimes they were demotivating. Who else would I? God, that's
one more. There's got to be X-Pac?
I don't know. Actually, maybe. There's a lot of guys in that time frame that would probably be in trouble on social media back then. I would absolutely have to say all of us. There's probably a handful that wouldn't be in trouble.
Kind of going in the vein of troublemakers. Recently, there was a story in WWE, and WWE has a big initiative right now with anti-bullying. Recently, there was an announcer, Mauro Ranallo, who was taken off TV for a couple months because he apparently had some backstage issues with some of the wrestlers and some of the announcers. How much was bullying prevalent in your time? And kind of,
but see, that's the whole thing. And I'll be a big advocate and supporter of John Bradshaw. Mm-hmm. There was no bullying or anything else. It was ribbing. It was hazing. It was stuff that they do to, that you come into the business with and stuff like that. It depends on how you take things. If you're going to take things like a little girl, then yeah, you're going to say that you were bullied. But we didn't have that back then. It was ribbing. It was fun, good stuff. John has never been nothing but very good to us. He was a good friend back then. Even to this day, when we saw him last year and stuff like that, it was awesome to see. People are always going to have stories, and it's just like anything else in life. Like if they say harassment, you can look at me wrong and I go, "Oh my God, that guy's harassing me." Harassment bullying is an interpretation of how one takes it. Now, whether if it's physical bullying, that's a different story. But nobody ever said anything like that. If you can't take some of the heat, get out of the kitchen. It's how I feel about it. I mean, we took a lot of hazing. I mean, oh my God, the hazing that we took when we were the Flying Nuns, when Vince came over, that was horrendous. But I mean, it's part of the business. It's not. It's an interpretation of how you take it. If you're going to take it and you're going to be sensitive about it, then I don't know what to tell you.
Where did things change? How did it change?
How did things change from then to now?
Yeah, what happened?
I think maybe some people have gotten soft. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: when we were done on Monday Night Raw or Tuesday SmackDown or stuff like that, we would go back to the hotel. It would be me, Chaz, Earl Hebner, and Jimmy Miranda, who used to be in charge of the merchandising back then. 3 people from the different aspects of the business. You have the 2 wrestlers, you have a referee, and then you have somebody that did merchandising out with the crowd and stuff like that. We would all go to one room and we would play cards until the wee hours of the morning. That's what we did. Did we harass and tease each other and everything else? Absolutely. Could one take that as a bullying? Maybe. It depends on how sensitive you are. I mean, bullying, I think, is in the eyes of the beholder. So I don't know if it's changed much from then to now. When we went back and we were in the locker room, we saw none of that. We saw nobody being harassed or bullied or anything else like that. Everybody was getting along and having a good time with each other, which what we should be doing because, we're all in it for the same reason.
Now, Thrasher, we always have our guests do something what we call push or bury. And basically, we're just going to give you 3 sets of names, and we want to just hear what you would do with them if you would push them or bury them. And we're going to start off with Fandango and Breezango. We're going to put them together. How do you feel about them? Push?
Push. They're entertaining. They're characters. I wish it was us, the ones that were jumping them in the dark. But everybody says, "Oh my God, the Headbangers beating them up." What a true angle that would be.
Hey, it's still possible, huh?
Police against 2 guys in skirts. It's there. You never say never.
Exactly.
Yes, I would definitely push them to. Absolutely. I love both of their in-ring work abilities. So yeah, I would definitely push them.
All right, the Ascension.
I think I would.
I hear a berry coming.
Repackage them.
Oh,
I hear a berry. That's a berry right there.
I wouldn't bury, but I would repackage. I think both guys are extremely good at what they do. I think that they got a bad rap when everybody started calling them LOD, now, or, ripping off LOD's gimmick and stuff like that. But, I mean, I think that they could get over in a different character. So I would bury the Ascension gimmick.
All right, and now we're going to leave WWE for this next one because I feel like this tag team is making a lot of noise. The Young Bucks.
Bury or push? I like them, too, as in-ring performers. I wish they were a little bit more original.
Now, do you feel that they're a ripoff of the Rockers, or?
I think 700 super kicks in one match is overdoing it when Shawn Michaels would put your teeth in the back of your head with one. I just think it's it's killing off somebody's finish. But, I love, what they do in the ring. I think they're tremendously gifted, very athletic. I would love to have a match with him. But yeah, I just wish they would do, they do the too sweet thing, and they do the X crotch, the DX thing, and it just seems like they're a mixture of so many different things. Do they really have their own persona? I don't know.
Do you feel the same about Dolph Ziggler?
What? The Dolph of Billy Gunn?
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. Billy Gunn, Shawn Michaels, etc.
Isn't Dolph Billy's son? Oh no, that's just a rumor I started on Twitter.
Are you confirming breaking news?
well, I mean, I heard Dolph may have had something with Sonny too. So
he's either Billy's son or he's Sean's son, one of the two.
It's funny. Well, I think when Dolph first came out, yes, he was a huge runoff. Sean, Billy, and stuff like that. I think now he's kind of getting into his own niche and stuff like that. I think Dolph is unbelievable. I think he's one of the most underutilized talents that they have up there.
Thank you very much.
100%. Could you imagine matches with Dolph Ziggler and AJ Styles?
Yes.
You put those two together in any kind of match, a ladder match, a last man standing match, anything. It would be a 5-star match.
So what's killing Dolph right now? What's the hump he can't get over?
You have to ask the storytellers and the story writers. I don't know. I don't understand why they can't find something for him. I think he would be an easy person to write for. I don't know. They have so many things going on right now. Maybe they just want to leave him off TV. I mean, when was the last time Dolph was on TV?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Maybe they're doing that for a purpose.
Right.
Who knows? You never know. You never know. That's why you never say never. You never bitch. You never moan. You appreciate. Because for one person that's bitching and moaning about not being utilized right in WWE right now, there's 10,000 guys that would take that spot.
Absolutely.
Right now.
Now, if there was one match,
be grateful for what you got. It's very short-lived. It's very fast.
Now, if there was one match that you can bring back to the forefront, with me, I always say I would love to see a Wargames match. I'm wondering
a scaffold match.
A scaffold. Ooh.
Scaffold match. Absolutely. Because I can remember watching, what was it, NWA back in the day when they had the scaffold matches with the Road Warriors and Andersons, or it was somebody up in the scaffold match. And I know Hawk and Animal were involved.
Yeah.
But they were crazy. Yep. Crazy.
I think that was the one. I believe it was Jimmy Hart who had fell off the scaffold, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was too. Yeah. Did he break his leg?
Oh, yeah.
He broke something.
It always makes for a good storyline when you actually break something.
Yeah.
True.
I mean,
make an amazing return.
Storyline. Exactly.
So nearing the end here, obviously you want to be mindful of your time, and thank you again. Who is the tag team to watch in this upcoming year?
Who is the tag team to watch? You know what? It's funny. I would want to say the Revival, but it just seems like every time they get some steam, one of them gets hurt. And it's a shame because I love watching what they do in the ring, and I think they have a tremendous amount of ability to be that next it thing for the tag team. But if they just have to find a way to stay healthy.
They just seem like a modern-day brainbusters to me.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, they're very technical and stuff like that. They do a lot of stuff. See, I like watching a tag team where you can sit back and go, holy shit, that's awesome. They use the 5 count when they're doing a double team to, 4.5, stuff like that. You have a 5 count for a reason. That's why it's in there. Yeah, I would say the Revival, if they could just, stay healthy. Another tag team to watch right now. I think a tag team that's going to be there to watch is Big Show and Enzo.
Wow, that's bold.
Wow.
Bold.
I actually think that they're going to come together and it's going to be more entertaining than not. Because I think Big Show with his facial abilities and stuff like that. Did you see it the other night?
Yes.
When they He was actually up on the stage dancing. That's hysterical.
That was and the arena busted out laughing. You could hear it.
Yeah. I have Big Show stories that when he first started, he was trained down at the Monster Factory for the first
You trained him, right?
months, yes. I had something to do with him when he first started. Me and Chaz and a bunch of guys took him to Atlantic City. So down on the Atlantic City boardwalk, there's these big statues of lions and stuff like that outside of one of Trump's hotels, casinos, and stuff like that. Big Show actually climbed up Paul. He actually climbed up on one of these statues and sat on it like he was riding it. It was hysterical. So then we're just walking down the boardwalk, and everybody's staring at us because, we're bigger guys, but then you're standing next to a guy that's 7'2". And back then, Paul was about maybe 325 pounds. He was
huge.
He was slender. I mean, and he was more slender than he is now.
Oh, wow.
And he was something to see because he came out of a basketball farm team. But we're walking down the boardwalk, and he walks into this bar, and they're singing karaoke. So he goes up to the karaoke thing and sings "Funky Cold Medina," and he did it. But he did it with a hair lip.
Oh, man.
And if you ever know what a hair lip, at the bar, and he's singing it like that, and it's just, the people don't know whether to laugh at him or to go, oh my God, this guy's so special. They had no idea what to do because they didn't know if that was his real voice or not. So for us, it was hysterical seeing this guy squished in this bar singing "Funky Cold Medina" with a hair lip. It was funny, and then just to see him so animated and stuff like that, he's entertaining. So yeah, I think that they will give us more entertainment this year than any other tag team, unless we come back.
So in a couple of weeks, we have one of WWE's biggest pay-per-views coming up, SummerSlam. And they have a huge main event, probably one of the biggest main events in terms of names that they've had in a long time. You got Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, and Samoa Joe. Putting on your prognosticator hat, who do you think is going to come out the victor in that match? Strowman.
Ooh, nice.
I actually think Strowman needs the belt to elevate him even higher. I think all the other guys in that match are elevated. It's either going to be Strowman or Joe.
Yeah,
agreed.
Either one of those two. I mean, I can see it going either way, but both of those guys would need it to get up to the next level of, I don't want to say credibility because they all have the credibility, but to be considered, the best in the world or the champion and stuff like that, I think, those two need the belt for that. I don't think Roman needs the belt for that, and I don't think Brock does. I think, but then again, if Brock wants to stay champ, Brock will stay champ. Because there's not too many things that you can do to Brock that he wouldn't be able to twist you or not and everything else. So if Brock wants to stay champ, Brock will be champ.
I mean, I would have to agree with that. I would personally, I just don't want to see Roman in the title picture for a while. Not because I don't like him. Like, I think he's a great talent. I like him a lot. But I kind of want to see with Cena now moving over to Raw soon. I would love to see a Cena Roman Reigns match. And then I know they keep name dropping Undertaker, which makes me believe he's going to come back. And I'm holding my fingers that he does, that he comes back for another WrestleMania match and just comes on. I want him to come back as the American badass Taker when he first created This Is My Yard. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that with how you feel about WWE keep name referencing the Undertaker. Do you think they're alluding to him possibly coming back, or do you think
actually, to be honest with you, I would love to see Taker go out the way Taker went out at this last WrestleMania.
Yep.
When he left his coat and the hat and stuff like that and the gloves in the middle of the ring, that symbolized so much to me. So I would love to see him go out the way Taker wants to go out. If that's the way he wants to be remembered, that lasting image. I mean, that's an image that no wrestling fan will ever forget. And I think that's the biggest thing when you leave the business. You want the people to have that one memory of you. I'm sure everybody has tons of memories of Taker because of his body of work and what he's meant to this business. But, for Mark to keep doing it and stuff like that, he has to be in the right, I want to say, health for him to do it. If Mark feels that he can do it, I'm all for it. When we saw him back at the 900th episode of SmackDown, when we saw him, I mean, he looked great. I mean, he came over to us, gave us a big hug and everything else. I mean, I've known Mark. I was one of the first guys to ever be put in his body bag after a tombstone. So back in the day when Taker used to put the guys in the body bag and Paul Bearer
with the great gloves
in there. Yep. I was one of the first guys in there right after Dwayne Gill.
Gilbert.
So I feel that, if maybe Taker has talked to Vince and said, you know what, I want one more. And if he came back as the American Badass, that would be awesome. I used to get chills watching him ride the Harley down to the ring and stuff like that. It would be awesome. So I could see him retiring each one of the gimmicks.
Thrasher.
Or versions of the gimmick.
Interesting. Well, Thrasher, we wanted to thank you for your time. We really appreciate you coming on to Unsanctioned. And, it's one thing I really, really, really have to get off my chest. When I was little, not too little, I'm not going to date myself.
He's still little. He's still little.
My game, I'm a big gamer. It's still to this day. WWF Warzone.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I would step into the ring with the Headbangers, you guys would whoop my ass. And I hated you guys. I hated seeing you on my screen. I hated you guys in real life. I just freaking hated you guys. Let's have to get that off my chest.
Funny.
Thanks for whooping my ass. But,
you're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah, but if you ever want to get it now in WWE 2K18, you're more than welcome to catch it.
I don't know.
I'm grown now. I'm grown.
If you got enough money in your pocket, I'll even let you win.
I'm just saying, you got to watch out. Back in the day, their attributes had full speed, man.
Yeah, right.
Full speed.
Oh, man. See.
Thrasher, we wanted to thank you for taking your time.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate your time.
Appreciate you and your contributions to the wrestling industry and the business overall. And,
thank you.
I could speak for all of us when I say this. We definitely hope to see you and Mosh back in the ring real soon.
Yep.
Well, I hope so too.
Push or bury the Headbangers.
Never say never. Never say never. That's right.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Good talking to you. And don't let your meatloaf.
Thanks, Thrasher. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Take care.
Oh, man. Wow. That was a great call, man.
Great call.
Did it change your perception of him?
You know what? I know the Headbangers weren't the biggest Attitude Era stars of their day, but hearing his insight about the locker room and what it was like and the camaraderie, you can tell that they were an integral part of the WWE Attitude Era, even though that they weren't the most famous part.
Right, exactly. And I think a lot of that goes overlooked.
You know what? With me, I can honestly say I'm not disappointed. You know how it's like when you meet someone who you watch growing up, type of thing, and they kind of rub you the wrong way. To me, I feel like if we were just at a bar hanging out, I'd be like, yo, rounds, let's keep the party going. He makes me feel like he's one of those guys who want to keep the party going. And he's enjoyable to be around.
And this is a big reason, I assume, why they kept him around during the Attitude Era. Important eras in
he's a glue guy.
History.
Glue guy.
He's a glue guy.
Brings everyone together.
Keeps the locker room together.
Yeah, I was a glue guy in school.
Yeah, and he had some good stories too, man. I mean, I for one wouldn't want to wet Ken Shamrock's socks and get chased.
I could not believe that. Are you serious? Are you kidding me?
That'd be one guy I would not pull any pranks on.
All the people, hey, let's bug someone. Oh yeah, Ken Shamrock. Yeah,
the world's most dangerous man.
Hell no, not even now. 50-something-year-old Ken Shamrock. I'll shake the man's hand. How you doing? Even if I hated his guts.
I mean,
hello, sir.
I mean, and then to find out that they broke D'Lo's nose performing
that
the stage.
That I feel like I didn't know.
Yeah,
that I feel like I didn't.
He was the first one to take their finisher, and he was the first one to get hurt.
Yeah.
Wrestler's Court. Julio, I think your question about Enzo and connecting that to Wrestler's Court was very interesting. Where do you see that going? Do you think they'll ever give him the opportunity to lay out his case, or is he going to continue to be shunned?
You know what I think?
Because it seems like things have changed.
One thing that Thrasher brought up, especially when we asked him about tag teams who are going to have be big this year, he mentioned Big Show and Enzo. I think what Enzo's going to need is someone with the presence and the clout of a Big Show to kind of have his back, to kind of bring him back. If he has the Big Show behind him, Big Show does a lot. And Big Show earns a lot of respect.
That's a pretty, almost now that we think about it, an intentional pairing, maybe?
It definitely is an intentional pairing.
Well,
try
I
to
think
scoop
it's
him?
because if you think
Guide
about
him?
Show's been over the past couple of years fading. Like his big match with Shaq it fell through.
I can't believe that.
You know what I mean? So and he got
Shaq
into
fool.
probably the best shape of his wrestling career since he first started. So I think making Show relevant until his day in the sun, and having Enzo being paired with someone of his stature, I think that rubs them both in the right way.
It's, Big Show brings about the respect, the tenure. Enzo brings about the mouthpiece. Both of what they bring, the other doesn't have, so it's a good pairing.
Yeah, I mean, me and Luis had this argument. I think Enzo can actually be a top star within the company, but I think what they need to do is they need to take him off TV for a bit and just adjust his move settings, because he's over with the crowd ridiculous. His merchandise sells, but we don't get to see what Enzo can do in the ring.
Why? Because of his in-ring ability, or because of what he does on mic?
He doesn't have the in-ring ability to be a top level star.
He
No
should
offense.
be a
He
manager.
should be either a manager or bring it back to the Jesse Bobby Ventura days, and he's 100% on commentary.
Whoa.
Ooh, that's very
He's
colorful.
100% on commentary.
Not a bad idea.
Might you get annoyed with him? You might. You
He
might.
make
But
it all
you know
about
what?
him. I don't want that.
We need a Jerry Lawler for this generation.
Yeah.
How you doing?
We need a Jerry. And Byron Saxon's not cutting it. Neither is a Tunga.
Yeah.
Or whoever else they want to trot out there. I think they need a colorful personality. I think Enzo's the guy.
I think Enzo would make a hell of an Intercontinental. I would love to see a feud with Enzo
Are you still
and Miz.
there with that?
Just because
Enzo
I think
and
that
Miz.
that on the
Jay,
mic that is pure
Listen,
gold.
once that
Jay.
bell rings and it goes ding ding, it'd be the most boring thing ever, because Miz definitely for his years definitely got
Right.
better in the ring. Enzo isn't there yet.
Yeah, but if you look at Miz's career, Miz was also shunned. He was shunned. He got kicked off. He couldn't even dress with the boys for a while.
I would say Enzo and Cass, part of the reason that if they didn't get over, is neither of them are that good in the ring.
I think WWE looks at Cass and is like
Neither of them.
champion.
Yeah.
And to me, I think they're going to push him.
WWE or Vince McMahon.
Well,
Vince McMahon.
he is
Exactly.
WWE, whether
Come
we
on,
like it or not. He makes all the final decisions, and I think he looks at Cass as Diesel. And if we all remember Diesel, Diesel didn't do well money wise for WWE as champion.
That's true. In fairness to Diesel, they were going into transition period. You're going off of Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and trying to find new stars. So they kind of thrust them in a tough time.
No, I think you know what it was. I think Bret Hart had developed a following, and Vince, as soon as that steroid case was over, he tried to get the belt back on someone big. But by then, people started falling in love with Bret Hart.
I was always a big Diesel fan. Always picked Diesel over Bret Hart. Still today.
I can't do that.
That's just a personal opinion
I
myself.
can't do, even when he was Kevin Nash and part of the
never really a
NWO
fan
and
either.
Wolfpack, I couldn't do
First
that.
of all, 100 times, if we're not talking about wrestling, if we're talking about anything but being in the wrestling ring, Kevin Nash is 100 times more entertaining than Bret Hart.
Oh yeah, we're talking wrestling here. We're
Full
talking
statement of the
wrestling.
day.
Right.
If that was the case, I'll take Razor. You know what I mean? I'll take Scott Hall. if anything.
Scott Hall's
That's
better
guy.
than both of them. If you
Hey,
put
yo.
all of it together.
Yeah. Complete package.
Complete package.
Yeah.
But he's not better than Bret Hart in the ring or Diesel on the mic, but he's better to combine
But
than both of
he's
them.
well balanced.
Yeah.
Well
Yeah,
balanced.
I think there was a lot of backlash just trying to throw it on Diesel right away. And if you look at the programs Diesel worked, he didn't really have any good to work with neither. Yeah, I remember watching the match versus Mabel, and he verbally cuts Mabel out because Mabel crushed him.
Weaker champion, Diesel or Roman Reigns?
Diesel, hands down.
Diesel.
Oh, guys.
Hands.
I'm a
hands
fan
down.
of
I'm here for you, Diesel.
I love what Roman.
I got my black glove on.
Roman is an elite star. Not even a top star. Not a great star. He's an elite star. And when all is said and
You
said
know
and
what,
done,
Luis?
he will be an automatic Hall of Famer.
Today, yes, I 100% agree with you.
I think even back then-
When they first put the belt on him, I don't think I could agree.
Well, he
thought
only
it was
held it for
real.
5 minutes.
Yeah, nah, he just didn't have it. It felt forced when they first gave it to him. Now, if they give it to him, he has.
He's
like
got clout
honestly,
now.
he's got clout. Honestly,
but
he's
we
probably
know
the
why
best
though,
they have.
because WWE made the mistake of announcing Daniel Bryan for the Royal Rumble.
Right.
Once that happened, all the people that was cheering Roman the week before
Right.
booed him.
Right.
It's so much to the point they booed The Rock for trying to endorse Roman.
Yeah.
When have you ever
Oh.
seen that?
You even saw The Rock's facial expressions.
He's
But we
"Wow,
can
you're on
agree.
your own."
We can agree. WWE has officially given up on having the fans trying to like Roman Reigns. They officially gave up on that.
Right.
Yeah. No,
Right.
they decided that's not.
No,
a good idea.
here's my counter to that. I don't think they gave up. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to paint him. And if you guys watched the peak of how Stone Cold came about, whether you cheered him or you liked him, as long as you got a reaction, that's what turned him over. And now if you're looking at like some of his matches, like some of his tactics, they're giving some of the fan base what they want. A lot of us want to see a heel turn with Roman. If you look at the ambulance match and what he did afterward, he lost the match, and what did he do? He was a poor sport. You know what I mean? He threw Brian in there and he crashed the truck, like the ambulance. When was the last time you seen like a real face do that?
I mean,
that's what I mean.
He's a tweener.
If you figure that, plus after he beat the Undertaker, go watch that promo he did on Raw the next night after he beat the Undertaker.
I loved it
Lethal.
though.
Listen,
I loved it.
Listen, he sat there and
Lethal.
took in those boos for a good 2 minutes, not saying any
It was
word.
nine.
That was.
And the
that
first
was
thing he
nice.
says is, "This is my yard now." That's it.
Oh.
It was like one of the greatest promos ever.
Mic drop.
But that's the Roman Reigns I like. Like I
chills.
hated when Vince made him talk more
Right,
than what he
exactly.
had to. It made him sound cheesy, and that little
And the
corny
world and
laugh.
his mother knew he needed a manager.
Wild theory of the day. What if Roman can't talk, right? What if they give him a mouthpiece? What if that mouthpiece happens to be Enzo?
I think that's comedy.
What if they forced them to work together?
Oh, man.
He needs someone like a Paul Heyman.
Nah, you know who would make if I'm thinking about mouthpieces, right? And someone that you have to bring for Roman as a mouthpiece, we have to go down the list, and we have to go back to the annals of WWE.
Oh, you said Rikishi?
Oh no, you got to go back. You got to bring back the boy Slick, man. You got to bring back Slick.
Are you talking Kimchi? Are we bringing back Kimchi?
Nah, you got to bring back Slick, man. You got to bring back Slick, man. Come on, man. Everyone, you got to bring back Slick.
Let's go so smooth for Roman
on,
Reigns.
brother.
Roman Reigns needs somebody a little bit more intense.
Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman would be perfect.
Nah, because I feel because like Paul Heyman, they try to do it with Axel, they try to do it with Cesaro, and
That's right. Paul Heyman needs a big guy.
but
He needs someone.
Right.
Paul Heyman needs somebody. You can't put Paul Heyman with.
It's not going to be automatic.
With
It's gotta be the right
Ben
match.
Gordon. You need to put him with Michael Jordan.
You know what? And the thing is, bad comparison. But you know what it is? Like Roman doesn't need a mouthpiece. He just needs to speak like Roman, and I think that is the biggest thing. You know what I would love about Roman? If there's a promo when he gets in the ring and he's just like, "I didn't come here just to talk. I've come here to fight," and drops the mic and just hammer off. Boom.
That's the best Roman.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that's the best Roman. Now, of course, I want to know, with SummerSlam coming up, we're just going to run through. You know what I mean? Julio, we're going to need you to work the boards on this one. We're going to go down, me and you, Luis. Mano y mano. Jeune, you can weigh in, definitely. We want to get some predictions on this card. So, let's start about the WWE Championship.
You know the card?
Jinder Mahal, Nakamura.
Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal. Look, listen. For that, Jinder Mahal or Nakamura, I strongly see, I'm not advocating for it, but I strongly see Baron Corbin doing his thing, cashing in the Money in the Bank, and leaving champ.
100% agree on that one.
Do you see him cashing in on Jinder, though?
No. Shinsuke's definitely winning that match.
Here we go to get technical. So it'd be a good look for Shinsuke to win. Damn, that was all so hard to say. Because then he could be referred to as former WWE heavyweight champion. It's like a stat pattern.
Or
Here's what I'm going to
shield.
say. You don't beat John Cena. You don't beat John Cena to get the number one contendership and not win that next match.
This is true.
So as soon as he beat John Cena, I knew he was winning that
It's
SummerSlam.
WWE, so we'll see.
He's going to win. Baron Corbin will cash in, and then the next pay-per-view will be a fatal four-way. Baron Corbin, Shinsuke, Jinder Mahal, and throw in whoever as the fourth person. And that'll be the next pay-per-view.
probably Sami Zayn. That's what they like to do.
Yeah, that'll be the next pay-per-view.
Out of nowhere, yeah.
Now, what do you guys feel about the match that was made last night? You got Big Show versus Big Cass. Enzo suspended above the ring in a shark cage, which I'm kind of sick of seeing.
Are they doing the shark cage thing again? You know
Yes.
what? They're trying to sell those WWE shark cage rings. That's why they keep having these shark cage
Probably.
matches. Yeah.
You're gonna see it as a toy commercial.
Yeah, definitely.
New shark cage ring,
definitely.
WWE.
We already know what's going to happen there.
Valid point.
Big Show's not going over Big Cass.
Yeah.
Big Cass is getting that push right
he
now.
needs to push, yeah. Already, I feel like it's automatic. Big
Now.
ass all the way.
Now I feel with this I feel this rivalry is kind of just being underrated, and I like what's coming out of it. The Usos versus the New Day. SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
You know what? We have the two best tag teams in the last, definitely within the last 5 years in WWE, the Usos and the New Day. I love what they're doing. It's not old. It's not bland to me. It feels a little bit real, somewhat. But you know what they have with the New Day. They're trying to build up the SmackDown merchandising dollars. There's no way they're going to have the Usos beat the New Day and take the belts off them.
Right. I think you make a very valid point with that one. But personally, on the wrestling side of things, I'd love to see a hot potato
Back and
to
forth.
establish both teams. I mean, the Usos more and give them more of the accolades in their career.
Yeah. I don't want them to see them do that only because I think that kind of waters down the SmackDown tag team division.
But it keeps them both at the top.
It does, but what does it do?
It's not hot potato with everyone else.
What does it do for Breezango? What does it do for?
I think Breezango stays in the vignettes. Yeah, I mean, I think they stay in there. But like to Luis's point, I think a hot potato, for a certain extent, I think it benefits both because, and then if there's a big payoff match at the end, and that's what I'm banking on, the big payoff match. If there's a payoff match, say it's a Hell in a Cell, with those tag teams, you know what I mean, or there's a TLC match, and you know what I mean, with those two teams, I think that's where the payoff is. Now, how do you guys feel? Predictions. Who do you think Alexa Bliss is going to face? I think Nia Jax kind of sneaks in there.
I think so. It's Nia Jax and Sasha Banks next week, right?
Yep. I think Nia Jax goes over surprisingly.
Alexa Bliss insults Kurt Angle. He makes it a triple threat.
Ooh. Julio with the card.
That's what's happening. That's what's happening.
Oh, man.
It's already there. They're not going to have Alexa Bliss fight Nia Jax right now. It's too much with the bestie thing. They're not going to have Sasha and Alexa Bliss go one-on-one only because that was a couple pay-per-views ago.
But if you wear your WWE storyline person hat, doesn't that seem like a dumbass mistake that they would make?
To not have Sasha Banks? Or
No,
to
Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax.
One-on-one? Yeah, I think that's stupid. I mean, those are the two biggest female heels they got on that brand. You can't have them go one-on-one against each other.
People are starting to cheer Nia. But now, putting on the creative hat, and this is where I think it's going. I'm thinking long-term. I see Sasha winning the Women's Championship. I see Bayley coming back as a heel. She comes back like, oh, that's great. You know, my buddy won the championship. Hand raises, and all of a sudden, Bayley to belly. And it just snaps. Every time I'm in the spotlight, you want to be in the spotlight. And I just see it going from there.
Yep, definitely
She's
triple.
due for it.
I think you're right, Jay. I think I'm going to combine them. Triple threat. Sasha Banks comes out the champion.
You're like the dude Teddy Long, man.
Triple threat. Tag team match, player. Triple threat. Sasha Banks comes out the champion. Next night on Raw, Bayley, belly to belly, turning heel. Bayley's a heel now.
I love it.
AJ Styles, Kevin Owens.
That's a hot potato situation. Kevin Owens.
Ooh. Luis?
AJ Styles retains.
AJ Styles retain. Is it a botch retain or is it
They're going to get it right retain.
Okay. And now
You?
I'm going AJ.
Why?
I think AJ is going to hold the belt until Royal Rumble. And then I think with Royal Rumble from there, he loses it. And I think they start building a WrestleMania program for him and Nakamura.
I think when we were talking about that Fatal 4 earlier for the WWE Championship, I think you got your fourth guy right there, AJ Styles.
I love it.
I think you got your fourth guy right there, AJ Styles.
All right. And then, of course, we have Naomi versus Natalya. I think Natalya goes over. I think they finally...
I almost forgot SmackDown had a women's championship. I definitely did until
Wow.
you just mentioned that. I'm gonna go Naomi.
Get on your job, writers.
I'm gonna go Natty
Yeah.
as a little wink nod.
Hey,
tip of the hat to her career.
Hey, you've been doing well this long. You deserve one
Exactly.
shot.
She was a Divas champ. Now we're
I
going to
think,
give you a
and I think
women's
that
title.
would be the reason why.
Yeah.
If she
I can
goes
see
on.
that.
Cena Corbin.
Corbin.
Cena.
Ooh, yeah, I see Cena going
Cena.
over.
All right. If Cena wins that match, definitely Baron Corbin is cashing in his Money in the Bank and we're coming out with the championship that night. Just know it.
All right.
Get told to
Now, this is what I feel is going to be. Well, I'm going to hold that match. I'm going to hold that. I'm going to hold that match for the last one. Randy Orton and Rusev.
Randy Orton. Only because he's taken too many L's lately. So,
All right. Neville Tozawa.
Ooh, Tozawa.
Okay.
Tozawa. He's been going over lately.
Titus Worldwide.
Worldwide.
Okay. Now, of course, we're going to go to the Fatal 4-Way. Who do you got?
Fatal 4-Way. Julio, get first pick. Fatal 4-Way.
I'm going to go bold and go Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe.
Samoa.
I'm going to second that. Samoa Joe.
I'm a third that. Samoa Joe. And now, this is what I feel is going to be the match of the night. And depending on who we get, Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt.
Finn Balor.
You think the Demon King arises, or?
I think he does, especially because fans have been asking for it. It's pretty well known, like, hey, when are we going to see that again?
Yeah. Now,
how to do it?
Now, if you're booking this,
at least marketing-wise, do it.
Now, if you're booking this match, right, how do you play it out? Because me, personally, if I'm booking this match, I'm not putting the Demon King at SummerSlam. I'm going to try to hold off at least somewhat closer to Survivor Series because I want to drag this out. If I can get a good 3-4 pay-per-view matches out of them.
See, here's my thing. I feel for Bray Wyatt. Anything that has to do with Bray Wyatt and another nice young star, I feel for him.
I put Bray Wyatt over in this match, though. This is why I say I don't see the Demon King.
I just don't see it.
See,
if he does, will it even be effective?
I think it will be.
Purpose?
Because everyone wants to see the Demon King. I think you have to build
I
that.
see what you're saying. Okay, so Bray goes over, Finn gets mad, brings out the Demon King.
Yes, boom,
yeah. But then ultimately, who benefited from the feud?
They both do. Because Bray picks up pay-per-view wins, which is something, if we're being honest, he hasn't really done over his career. They threw him a bone in the Elimination Chamber. Yeah, I mean, not the Elimination. Yeah, the Elimination Chamber. They threw him a bone. But I don't really see like him getting a lot of pay-per-view wins. Like I think this is a good way to build up Bray with his pay-per-view wins. And then Finn Balor comes Survivor Series, gets that huge win, which now pushes him into the Royal Rumble. You get what I'm saying? And then from there, who knows what the storyline could be? Who knows what they have him planned for WrestleMania?
It just seems like they combined two lost souls. Not to play off the gimmicks, but they combined two lost souls on the roster and said, make something happen. Entertain us. Take this spot. Shine. Do something. That's what it feels like.
I don't know. I think a lot of people was banking on this match.
So let me ask you this.
Even well before.
Jay,
yep.
Finn Balor coming back, has it been done right?
Yes.
First Universal Champion in history.
Yes.
Has it been done right?
Yes. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay, tell me why. Enlighten me.
Because you can't bring him back and throw him right into a picture with Brock. Realistically, people are going to be like, okay, Brock, who had just won the title, is going to annihilate him. You know what I mean? And it's Roman Reigns is a different thing. And if you look at those pretenders, like Roman Reigns lost because he was in the doghouse. He lost cleanly because of that, coming off that suspension.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's neither here or there. That's in the past. We don't want to bring that up about Roman. But I feel like what they're doing, they're reestablishing him to the crowd. They're reestablishing his work ethic. And now they're showing people what he's able to do. When you figure, when they brought him up, he had 3 matches before he won the title. And one was actually 2.
Well, yeah, just playing into the element
one
of
was
surprise.
the qualifier, and then he went into SummerSlam and won it. You know what I mean?
Right. It was a new day.
Yeah, I see you just keep making puns going.
It was a new day. It was a new day. It was time to turn the page on a new era.
No,
that's what that signified.
I think they're doing right by him. I want to put the Universal title on him probably until next year around this time. And that's just being honest. I would love to see him work some mid-card titles. I would love to see him be the workhorse as an Intercontinental Champion and give him a long run there because I think there's so much he can do. And I can see him and Jason Jordan eventually just going over that mid-card title. I think that'll be a great rivalry as well, somewhere down the road if Jordan turns heel, which I'm predicting he will. But I would hold off on having him regain his Universal Championship until next SummerSlam.
All right, before we wrap up, your projected SummerSlam grade. What do you give it?
My overall grade?
Letter grade. Teacher.
I'm going to go with I'm gonna go with a solid B.
Solid B.
Solid B. And I'll preface it why. I'll preface it because there's no Intercontinental title match, which I feel like major pay-per-views,
you gotta have
all your major titles have to be on the line. Sheamus and Cesaro, I think, need to have a tag team title match on there. You kind of force them together and build them up, and then you don't even give them a match on one of your major pay-per-views.
For now.
Yeah, but I just feel like there's a waste in that. I feel like they're wasting the tag team division when they're doing that, when they put so much hard work in trying to elevate it.
They could be just, killing time for the Awoken.
Nah, because now, like, the Hardys will focus on the Revival, and it seems like the Revival is going to be out for a while due to, I believe it was Dawson having a torn pectoral, but we'll see.
All right, well, you give it a B.
Solid B, straight B.
Solid B. I give it something my 8th grade teacher used to give me, and I hated her for it. A B+/A-. My teacher did it. I could do it. It was done in the books.
I think you're towing the company line there. Come on, this is unsanctioned, man. We go hard.
Unsanctioned. I'm giving you something you thought you couldn't get.
Anything goes.
All right, if I had to settle on one, it'd be a B+. It'd be a B+. I think for the most part it delivers, and for that reason it gets a B+.
Do you think the whole card delivers or just the main event?
And that's why I said for the most part. I think we'll see some disappointments. Being a major show, there's a lot of pressure, but at the same time it'll never be WrestleMania, which is what WWE wants.
It's the WrestleMania of the summer.
Oh man, who's paying you?
No one. I mean, it's the biggest
man?
party. Whoa. I mean, WrestleMania has a theme song. SummerSlam used to have a theme song.
Are you a company man or a journalist?
Pump it up. I mean, all the major pay-per-views used to have their theme song that ran for like a couple years. You know what I mean? And SummerSlam was one of those.
I love SummerSlam, and I love their ideas for it.
SummerSlam has
I don't think it's where
matches.
they say it is yet.
I mean, I think it's been there. I mean, where else can you name someone celebrating like they won the championship off a count out and they didn't? Lex Luger, and you have balloons falling, the Lex Express. Come on, man. SummerSlam is big in its own right.
You're right, and hopefully it delivers in 2017.
It did.
Well, thank you, Thrasher.
Yes.
Half of the Headbangers, we appreciate your time. He was an amazing interview, and if you didn't get a chance to check it out fully, hit up Fight Booth, fightbooth.com, and it's going to live there.
We got to plug that again. What is it? Fightbooth.com?
Fightbooth.com.
You might have to spell it out.
And you can follow them on Twitter.
You might have to spell it out for people.
Fight Booth.
You got to spell it out.
I forgot how to spell it. We're wrestling fans.
Oh, man. Come on, man. Luis, that's not a good look, man. You're Spanish. You're talking about you don't know how to spell the word, man. You know who's in office.
Thank you, Fight Booth. FIGHTBOOTH. .com. Thank you, Fight Booth. Oh, look at all that plugging.
I like how you just like did that real slow and steady.
Each time I say Fight Booth, they give me $5.
Fight Booth. FIGHT.
Well, this has been Unsanctioned. I'm Luis Vasquez. You can follow me on Twitter at Luis Vasquez617, rep in Boston.
I'm Jay Holland. You can find me on Twitter at JOCity. That's JAYOCITY.
And this has been Unsanctioned.
We are signing off from Unsanctioned. That's not the actual theme song, but, we just got to do our own thing. So, here we go.